Let us use the appearance of the solar hydrates, these new medications that the health call center is creating, so that we can have a more profound and broad knowledge about Figueira. Because everything that takes place in the sectors within the plan, very especially in this health call center which is in charge of healing, is within a higher evolutionary plan. It's as if the things that take place here as a spiritual center would reflect what takes place on the planet at a greater level. So this work of the health call center with these subtle medications is about a work that at a planetary level is carried out upon all the beings of the planet. So there is a planetary work on beings, on the whole planetary aura. There is a work taking place on all bodies, upon all forms that exist on the planet, that it's a work of transformation of the form or transmutation of form. So, in coherence with this, there is the work of the health call center, very especially on the field of these solar hydrates. What takes place on the planet and influences directly in this transformation in which all bodies should go through is that the pure energy of the planet, the essence of the planet, or the logos of the earth, the central consciousness, the source of life of the planet, this is going through a transmutation. So we're going through transmutation, the transmutation of this planetary consciousness. This new planetary consciousness, or this logos of the earth, which is being transmuted, is bringing a lot of beneficial consequences, such as an organization, a broadening on the planetary hierarchy. This is with many monads and souls becoming aware of this hierarchy and beginning to live in the hierarchical level. Another thing that is being possible to take place through this planetary transmutation is the replacement of the law of material karma for superior evolutionary law. So while all the consciousnesses of all beings are becoming aware of the spiritual hierarchy of values, the law of material karma will be replaced for a superior evolutionary law, which is a progression of this law of material karma, but it's a law that is very broad. This broadening of this planetary hierarchy and the replacement of the law of material karma for the superior evolutionary law has to do with this change on the planet, this planetary transition. So we are living a very special moment, because as we are all in material bodies and matter and forms are going through this transmutation, through this transformation, all forms are going through this. And we who are living within forms, we're being transmuted. We're being transformed very deeply. This transformation or this transmutation demands a reorganization of energy in the whole aura of the planet, and the solar, planetary, astrological conjunctures. These greater conjunctures will provide this transformation, and the planetary hierarchy itself, the current hierarchy, can participate a lot more in this reorganization because the intergalactic consciousness or entities of intergalactic consciousness will approach more to the earth, and they are collaborating with this hierarchy. So we couldn't say that an intergalactic consciousness or an intergalactic entity could be in the structure of planetary hierarchy, but they are closer, and they are thus influencing that. They are bringing certain opportunities of cosmic karma to this planet, opening paths for the work of planetary hierarchy. So planetary hierarchy has a higher hierarchy to foster this transformation of the earth. So the transformation which we're going through on the earth is not only a natural transformation or a transformation that takes place in celestial things only. It's very special because the central energy is being replaced on the planet. So all bodies, all forms are becoming subtle, not only to survive and to keep evolving under a great influence, under a greater energy that is enveloping and permeating the planet, as well as those bodies need to become subtle in order to continue alive here, because the whole planet is becoming subtle, so there should be a communion, an interaction of subtlety. And before this whole energy and before this whole influence, which is beneficial, material plans, forms, and about incarnated monads, the bodies in which we are incarnated in, these bodies should have to submit themselves to the subtlety. They would have to vibrate in a different voltage to accompany this transition of the earth and the subtlety of all matter. But this material part or these bodies would have to have some support to bear this whole transformation and not become unbalanced or not disintegrate, depending on the case and state of these bodies. In current humanity, the body that needs support and help the most to continue receiving this stimulation, the strong stimulation, is the mental body, the mental side of people. That's the place of more imbalance. This could have critical situations in the mental body given this great stimulation. The health call center, which in an intuitive way has always been from the beginning in this process. The health call center, which develops all its activities integrated in this process, has always presented purposes of treatment and has always presented medications which would not only aim to immediate matter situations or immediate situations of bodies, but the health call center in an intuitive way started to work with dynamics in a more subtle field of procedures, medications, and processes. And these solar hydrates are the limits of the health call center about beginning to work with the etheric part and the levels or sub-levels that are more subtle of the etheric body of people. So this line of hydrates is the limit for a more subtle work to begin taking place. A more subtle work means a way of procedure and a way of treatment that aims to the subtle part of an individual, the inner part of an individual, the inner bodies of that individual, then the external part. The treatments for the external part have a line of procedures, medications, and treatments that could assist almost all sectors of human body. And this introduction in the health call center of ancient techniques, of subtle techniques, this communion of the health call center with the Tibetan healing, Tibetan medicine, Eastern medicine, leads the health call center to this subtlety of the bodies. Solar hydrates work in the etheric level, in the astral level, and so that the health call center can establish more in the sub-levels and the higher sub-levels of these bodies and planes. But it would be necessary for us to not only be aware of the role of the health call center, which is not only to take care of illnesses, but it's to collaborate in the subtlety of matter, in the refinement of bodies, in transmutation of these body cells, astral cells, mental cells. We would have to recognize this role of the health call center and approach these treatments, this work, with a connection with this whole subtle work upon the matter. This is for us to be in the health call center, not only trying to solve our immediate and practical and physical and psychological situations, but to be in contact with this, offering ourselves so that in our bodies, in our subtle levels, all this could act, but not in a selfish way just for us, but to act, to work on matter itself, so that the whole planetary matter could be worked within each one of us. So eventually we wouldn't have to be treated by the health call center. If we have some discomfort, it could be treated fastly by any other technique, even normal medication, surgeries, everything that is available. But for us to be together, the health call center, and being there as a field of work of the self-giving and experience, this will help the development of the health call center. First, because our beings and our bodies, it's a material that is already in the path. It has entered this line of purification, this line of subtlety, and bodies that are already under the light of superior selves or monads. So this is a material that is much more in the face of these subtle treatments and do not only depend on the health call center or those who were using the treatment, but especially on those who are receiving the treatment. It depends on the material that is being treated. So there should be a response in the consciousness from those who are seeking the health call center, so that the material that they are, the bodies that they are, those cells can also answer in an intelligent way, because cells have intelligence. So the material should answer in an intelligent way to all this that is being done. If there is a response from that material, and that material can answer when our consciousnesses have noticed this, when our consciousnesses are leading the process of these cells and atoms, everything that is being treated. So our consciousness should have this very clear, keep this in mind, and lead the reaction of this material. And as that material is available, as those cells are treated, allowing themselves to be imprinted by all this, so all those processes are not evolving, they will evolve. And this can be also very useful in pictures in which diseases are present, because certain illnesses karmically are considered they are considered to be congenital. In the face of these illnesses, in the face of these situations, which are traumatic and are not easy to heal, if the consciousness of the individual is open to transformation and is in the line of the health call center, to go through all this congenital part, to enter all this material part, which cannot be transformed in that incarnation because of karma of those bodies. So the health call center will have the possibility of going through all this and starting to act through its components in the inner planes, in the subtle level, the subtle side, the spiritual counterpart of these atoms, which are not easy to heal in the physical plane. There are certain things in the cells that in that incarnation cannot be removed in a karmic way, unless through the coming of a superior law, unless the individual is going from the material karma to a superior law. So with the change of laws, unforeseen things can happen in matter. But even when this is not possible, the role of the health call center transcends this apparent part of the individual. This role transcends it, because the health call center is not just these people that we know here. In the line of the health call center lies the possibility of each person that works here in the health call center has its connection, its link to that which they're working in other planes, in inner planes. And this is being said because people who notice, not only notice this, but they could detect what happens, how it happens, and when it happens. And this has been confirmed not by only one person, two people, or just those who are working there, which would be very suspicious. This is something that has been observed and confirmed. Of having this ascension upon the health call center allows us to be in treatments and procedures or looking for these processes of healing as an attitude, a reverence, with gratitude. All of this included in our aura, in our energetic composition. All of this included in our approach with all these processes. Because thus, even that which is under the law of material karma will have the possibility that in its counterpart, which is not material, it's in essence of the individual, it's the future possibility of the individual of generating that which wouldn't make much difference in this life, or a miracle could happen of having a transmutation in that body, of having a deeper transformation in that body. And the health call center has a connection with all this. The health call center has been manifested about all this. There was a relation to all these things, and there was a cyclic moment for this to be introduced in the work of making matter subtle. And of course this has been prepared for many decades. This has been prepared even for centuries. But all these possibilities are connected with the origin of the health call center. The release of these solar hydrates and the offering that is being done of these hydrates thus allows us to talk about these things, because the subtle work is already manifested, is materialized. And it would be good for us not to be before these things like in the past century when we were in the face of homeopathy, like in the beginning of this century we were in the face of other subtle medications that were released. Because now all this line of subtlety of medicine and healing, it has been more developed, and the health call center is not something that is only in the physical plan. The health call center, in a certain sense, is connected innerly to planetary centers, where the work of healing, the work of reorganization of matter, the work of transformation of matter is part of the task of these planetary centers. So from this point of view that is being said, that is being presented, and that our minds could be very connected to it, from this point of view, the work of the health call center is connected with some planetary centers, and some responsible people for the health call center has always had this perception. So there are planetary centers that are very connected to all this. And within the health call center, they are part of a synthesis, a unity. So those who are very connected to what is being said, they can be closer to these facts or more aware of these facts, not only experiencing these treatments, these procedures, this way of treating matter, as well as they could individually deepen into the studies about Ibra, about Aurora, about Menajad, to enter a vibration that can reinforce, confirm, and help this aura of the health call center to be purer. Purer means to treating diseases, illnesses, the things of the matter, but not lose its connection with the subtle part of medicine, the subtle part of that which is called healing. And all this also depends on the consciousness with which we approach all this, the consciousness in which we treat all this, and how we for us to receive a hydrate and for us to live as a confirmation of the work of the subtlety of cells and all this. This is a service that we would give the health call center and do in this whole planetary hierarchical work of subtlety of matter, regeneration of bodies, and transmutation in some cases. This word, transmutation, it has the meaning sometimes of replacement of monads. And this is the most common use of the word transmutation, but it also has the meaning of a more profound renewal of matter. So we could say that an individual was transmuted when their monad was replaced by a more evolved monad. But we can say that a body is being transmuted in the sense of that body being deeply renewed. It's more than a transmutation. This is deeper. In the transmutation of the body, there is a deep change. The energetic ray of that body could be replaced by a different ray. So if a body is at a determinate ray, energetic ray, if there is a change of ray, that is a process of transmutation for the body. The body is the same, but there has been an energetic change that is very profound. And for this, you don't need to change your body. So sometimes the transmutation of monads, the individual is changed, the individual is replaced, and the individual that remained in the body, it starts to work on the transmutation of bodies, the transmutation of that whole material. It could be one of its tasks. This is the new monad that enters will facilitate the change of bodies, the change of ray in the bodies, the more profound change of those materials. So there is a difference between the transmutation that is a replacement and the transmutation that remains in those bodies. The health call center doesn't have an experience on working on transmutated bodies, on individuals that are transmuted, unless a relationship with it has begun. But the instruments that were used for this work are not always available and not always available to work on transmutated bodies, because those individuals are in charge of different tasks and eventually they're not here physically. Or even if they are in different tasks and they're not here for this. But in inner planes, all these connections continue, and this is all being processed at this moment. Let us await for the transmutation of energies, bodies, the transmutation of our body, material, emotional, and mental material to attract, because we need to attract things. Attracting things means to need things. So we could reach a certain degree of comprehension that we may need an evolution of the health call center, and that could not be evolution that because we do not need it. So when something is confirmed and is being carried out as the health call center, it's good for our consciousness to accompany it, because if our consciousness accompany it, we'll enter different needs. We won't have only the needs that we have. We will enter new processes, and this is what will enable subtle development, inner or superior development of the health call center. And of course that all this is possible to take place, and we can participate in a conscious way in all this, because this is nothing much. This is not something out of the law, because this is happening to the planet. This could not be thought or conceived if this was not within the process of the planet. So this is not something that does not belong to the process of the earth, and that is not about the development of current humanity, that is our development. This is perfectly normal within our current development. It's nothing extraordinary. But our consciousness should accompany this, so that our need may attract the development of all these processes.